Picture this: Napoleon Bonaparte standing on a battlefield, but instead of cannons and horses, he has 12 B-2 stealth bombers, a fleet of Abrams tanks, satellite communication, and a nuclear arsenal sitting quietly in the back just in case things get awkward. Europe doesn't stand a chance. Actually, scratch that. Nobody stands a chance. This is the story of what would happen if the most ambitious conqueror in history got a full military upgrade straight out of 2026, and absolutely nobody was ready for it. Napoleon was already terrifying by 1800 standards. The guy conquered most of Europe with muskets, horses, and an absolute god-tier understanding of battlefield strategy. His enemies would set up their formations, feel confident, and then Napoleon would do something completely unhinged, like flanking them from 3 directions at once while they were still figuring out which way was forward. But here's the question that nobody asked in history class, but absolutely should have. What if you took that same brain, that same obsession with total domination, and handed him the most advanced military technology on the planet? We are about to find out. Let's start with the basics. Napoleon's original army was around 600,000 soldiers at its peak. Now imagine those same soldiers but equipped with modern assault rifles, body armor, night vision goggles, and drones buzzing overhead, feeding live footage back to Napoleon's command tent. His enemies are still loading muskets. His troops are firing hundreds of rounds per minute. The Battle of Austerlitz, which was already considered one of the greatest tactical victories in history, would now last about 11 minutes. Napoleon would probably be a little disappointed, honestly. He liked a challenge. But then you throw in the tanks. Modern Abrams tanks rolling across the European countryside, absorbing cannonballs like they're getting a light massage while their 120mm guns obliterate fortified walls that took armies months to breach. Napoleon would look at his tank divisions, then look at the medieval castles trying to stop them, and just start laughing. The man would not even leave his tent for some of these battles. Now here is where it gets genuinely unfair. Give Napoleon a fleet of F-35 fighter jets and B-2 stealth bombers, and the concept of a battle basically ceases to exist. The enemy wouldn't even know the attack was coming. 1 minute they're eating breakfast and discussing how to stop Napoleon, and the next minute their entire supply line, bridge network, and artillery positions have evaporated, silently, invisibly. Napoleon would have absolutely loved stealth technology. He was already obsessed with deception and misdirection on the battlefield, so a plane that literally cannot be seen on radar would have sent him into a full spiral of pure joy. There's also the drone angle. Napoleon spent enormous amounts of time on intelligence, trying to figure out where enemy forces were positioned. Now imagine him having live satellite feeds and reconnaissance drones giving him a perfect real-time picture of every enemy army in Europe simultaneously. He would be sitting in his tent, sipping coffee, watching a drone feed of the Russian army on a screen, and just calmly planning their absolute destruction. The man was born for this. Now let's be real for a second, because it's not all explosions and world domination. Napoleon had one massive weakness even in his original timeline, and that weakness was supply lines. Running out of food, ammunition, and resources is what eventually broke his Russian campaign. Modern warfare is even more dependent on supply chains, fuel, spare parts, and technical expertise. So you'd need to give Napoleon not just the weapons, but also an entire logistics network, a team of engineers, and probably a few IT guys to keep the servers running. Napoleon absolutely would have executed the IT guys within the first week for explaining why the satellite went offline. That much we can guarantee. There's also the question of nuclear deterrence. If Napoleon had nuclear weapons, he almost certainly would have used one early just to make a point. And the target would probably have been Britain, because Napoleon had a personal grudge against Britain that bordered on obsessive. He'd nuke London, post the footage across his propaganda network, and then send a very calm letter to the rest of Europe saying simply, "I have more of these. Shall we talk? Shall we?" Here's a question for you though. If you personally had control over thousands of soldiers, tanks, jets, and all of Napoleon's battlefield strategy knowledge, what would you actually do with that power? Would you conquer Europe, liberate countries, or just immediately retire to a beach somewhere and let everyone figure it out themselves? Drop your answer in the comments, because I genuinely want to know, and the best answer might make it into the next video. Napoleon with modern upgrades would have been the most unstoppable force in human history, and honestly, The world should be grateful this remained a hypothetical. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more chaotic history experiments exactly like this one, make sure you subscribe because one subscribe costs you nothing and it genuinely makes a huge difference for the channel. And before you go, drop a comment with your recommendation for who should get the modern upgrade treatment next time, whether that's Julius Caesar, Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great, or someone completely unexpected. Like the video, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.